Hey y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chickanic. I hope everybody's having a great week. What do I have on the bench today? A customer Stihl 028 Wood Boss. Now this thing is over 40 years old, and y'all know I ain't in the restoration business. But when one of your best customers comes to you and asks you to repair a chainsaw that was their father's who passed away, I'm gonna do it. Now, as scary as this thing looks on the outside, I've already looked at the piston and cylinder, and it's pretty nice. I'm gonna bring y'all in so y'all can take a look yourself. All right, so I'm gonna break out my HD Endoscope by Depstech and get a good point of view of this exhaust side right here. This thing looks brand new. I don't know how, but it literally looks brand new inside. Now, although I'm pretty confident this thing has compression, I'm going to go ahead and check it anyways with my Mighty Vac compression tester and just make sure. Oh, yeah. We got 130 pounds of compression. We're good. Now, something you're going to see me do on this chainsaw that you don't normally see me do is a vacuum pressure test. That's because this thing is old and the seals might be bad on it. I don't do it that often though because it's a huge extra step that normally isn't an issue. Now to do a vacuum pressure test, I gotta remove the muffler. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this top piece just to make everything easier. Air filter, carburetor, that way I can close off each end and get a good seal. If it has an impulse line, that's gotta be closed up too. Now, first thing I'm going to plug, I got this right here is a broken fuel line. So this does not need to be plugged. That just goes to the fuel tank. But this is the impulse line going to the crankcase. So we definitely want to plug it up. And I'm just going to take a little golf tee right there and plug it on up. Now I got this rubber gasket here, and on both sides, the muffler and the carburetor side, I'm going to plug up the intake and the exhaust. And to seal it, I'm going to put the carburetor back on with some nuts. All right, I've done the same thing on the exhaust side. I've got it all buttoned up. Now my Mighty Vac took a dump on me. I don't know what's going on. It's not working right. So first thing I'm gonna do, I got my brake bleeding vacuum pump kit, and we're gonna vacuum test it and see if it holds. All right, give it a few pumps here. I'm gonna set it somewhere between 5 and 10. I'm just going to sit here for a second and make sure that it doesn't go down. I think we're good. Now, do not judge. I am going to pressure test it. And since my Mighty Vac's not working, I'm using the one that we use on the cars. And I've just rigged up this little device here with the fuel shut off. I'm going to blow some air into it, watch this pressure up, and see if it holds. And you'll want to wait for a bit, but I think we're good. All right, so now we know we have a beautiful piston and cylinder. We got good seals. Next thing we're going to check is for spark. We got spark. All right, I'm pretty excited about this one. I don't care what the carburetor's like, I'm gonna make it run. I had already taken this side off when I pressure tested so I could fit the carburetor back on there upside down and backwards. But let's take this side apart here. That thing looks clean. Wait a minute. This thing's way too clean. This is like a not used, but put on there because it's got some gunky look in there, but I don't know if this thing's ever been used. it's aftermarket. I mean, that diaphragm feels brand new. There are no markings anywhere. Nothing that says Zama or Walbro. Somebody tried an aftermarket carburetor on here. Oh no. So I'm going to put this carburetor on there. It did have a broken fuel line when I took it apart, and it's pretty hard. Change the fuel line, fuel filter out. Put this aftermarket carburetor on there. Cross our fingers. First, I'm gonna pop this fuel line in there. See if I can get a hold of it. Gently get it into its spot. Alright, one side in, there we go. Now, before I put this carburetor in, one thing I do notice that's missing is the tank vent, which they're really simple to make. Let me knock one out real quick. Set screws and a little chunk of fuel line. Doesn't have to be too long. We're going to use this piece right here. Now the size that I have here is 1/8 by 3/16, and it'll fit in pretty much any of your fuel lines that you're going to use. I just like to use this size because it goes on the nipple a little bit easier. You're going to pull out 2 set screws, and it's pretty simple. You're just going to put one in one end and one in the other. Make sure that one's down far enough so it can get on that nipple, and you will be good to go. No need to buy any expensive tank vents. So one, I'm just barely going to snug in the end there. The other one, I'm just going to go up far enough to get my nipple on. And just like that, we've got a tank vent. I'm going to stretch the end out here so I can get it over my nipple. Pop it on. And that's it. Homemade tank vent. And if you want to stick it through that little hole, you can, but you don't have to. All right, guys, so are you crossing your fingers? We got to make sure to get our impulse line on our impulse nipple. Slide it on in there like that. Grab this part of the carburetor and bring our throttle up around. That's working. Attach our fuel line. Just gonna give it a little stretch there. And we'll put our air filter back on because you have to have the air filter on this one because it actually works the choke. All right, guys, if it ends up I don't have to do anything to pretty much to this chainsaw to get it running, it's going to be a little crazy. Now, when I go into a lot of these videos, I have no idea what I'm going to find. I could find tons of issues and end up, not being able to repair it at all. Y'all would still see that. Or I can have a chainsaw that, needed a fuel line and a fuel filter and that's it. I don't know. All right, here we go. Let's see. Putting her on choke. We'll let her sit for just a second. Choke it up here, If it pops off, y'all, I swear. Okay. She ain't hitting. Oh, boys. It's a Stihl. It takes 7 pulls, but she popped. She popped. There you go. Taking her off choke. want to check these adjustments, see where we're at. I'm gonna go ahead, since this is an aftermarket carburetor, I'm gonna put them both about, just to start out with, at 1.5. And I can definitely go from there. Put her on choke. We gotta pop, y'all. Come on. Take her off choke. Oh, boys. Y'all. Come on. Let's put her back down on choke. Come on. Maybe if I give her some throttle with my foot. Oh, come on. Nope. Oh. We're not there yet. I gotta pull the plug and see if it's wet or dry. That way I know if I'm flooding out or not getting any fuel. Yeah, we're wet. We are very wet. We are flooded out. Let's not choke it and try to start it up again. Some throttle with my foot. I'm gonna give it a bunch of throttle with its actual adjustment. That way I don't gotta hold it with my foot. I don't know, guys. I think we're constantly flooding out here. This carburetor might not work. All right, I know y'all like seeing me pull on things. I've just pulled on this probably about 40 to 50 times. I would pull on it about 15 times, pull the plug. I'm flooding out constantly. It doesn't matter what adjustment I do. It doesn't matter anything. So I gotta go back into this carburetor. Now it is an aftermarket. I don't know if it's gonna work at all, but I wanna look inside, make sure that the needle lever is not messed up or something. I don't know. It's my last ditch effort. Yeah, we are full to the max with gas. I don't know. Everything looks perfect, but it is an aftermarket carburetor. I have no idea if it's gonna work or not. Now my next thing to do, I would come down on this needle lever. Even though it looks like it's in the right spot, I'm gonna bend this prong down a little bit so it's not getting as much fuel. You know what? I don't even think I'm gonna mess with that. I know that I've got a brand new needle lever in here somewhere. I think that's one right there. That's why I keep everything. Ah, I lost it. There's another one. Yeah, let's try that. And while I'm at it, I'm putting a brand new needle in it too. Now we see where that one's sitting, and that is the right spot. I don't know, maybe the new one will help. Let's hope this did it. All right, guys, we're working on day 2. I look a little different, but it got real late yesterday evening and my spidey sense was telling me that something else is seriously wrong. So I'm gonna make another go of it. I'm gonna try to start it again. Maybe it unflooded, but the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check fire, because even though I have tons and tons of spark, this thing has not hit a lick, not one time since yesterday. All right, let's see if we made any difference at all. Put her on choke. I've got her, the high and the low out, both at 1 full turn. What are you doing? No, you get back. You can't run off. Come on. Let's give her some throttle. Let's pull the plug, see if she's getting any fuel. No, not yet. We haven't flooded out. That's good. Maybe I hadn't got enough gas yet. Yeah. Not enough yet. Okay. That's better than too much. Come out. Half. Half. Lord. Well, this is where I am currently. Took the side cover off because although I have a ton of fire, like I've said, guys, I've probably worked on points and condenser maybe 30 times in the last 14 years of doing this. So this thing does, I believe, have points and condensers. So I'm gonna have to check them. But look what I just found. Now this is an AV, this is a WB, Wood Boss. This one is not points and condensers, so maybe I should steal this one. Now I actually do have a Stihl flywheel puller, which screws into the center of the flywheel. And then you just tighten down this center piece to make it pop. Just like that. And there they are. Yeah, I know. Some of you ain't gonna like it, and some of you will. I'm going with the electronic ignition. This is my last ditch effort. Like I said, points and condensers just really ain't my thing. This is the old coil with the old points and condensers I removed from the flywheel. I've got the new electronic coil on there. Let's see if she's gonna start. Now, when I put her back together, she still had a ton of fuel stuck in the cylinder, so I'm gonna go ahead and not choke it, give it a little throttle with my foot, and see if she pops off. Oh my gosh, let me put the bar and chain on. I'm gonna adjust it. Never turn on. Y'all, this thing runs awesome. Man, they don't make them this good anymore. And I just really feel honored that I was able to help out my customer, one of my friends actually, and bring a little piece of his father back. So guys, thanks again for tuning in to Chickanic. Hopefully this video saves you some time, money, and frustration in the future. If you haven't found me at Facebook, find me at facebook.com/Chickanic. Find me on Instagram at TheRealChickanic, or find me at Chickanic.com, where you can get your own t-shirts, hoodies, and long sleeve shirts. Now, if you haven't got your feel of chainsaw restoration and repair, check this video out right here.